Take care.
Watch out for that first step. It's a doozy.
What is your major malfunction, numbnuts?
Who could it be? Who could it be? I just can't imagine who. Could it be Satan?
I ain't no thief. I'm an honest hoe. And all my hoes is honest.
I see.
Hello there, my fellow Earthlings, Kafir and Goy. How's everyone doing? I know it's been a while. My sincerest, greatest, deepest apologies. I honestly was going back and forth on whether or not I would stream tonight. Just worn out, exhausted, got so many things going on. But, I mean, I've put off for different reasons. So here I am, trying to make it up to you. Regardless. So hope everyone's doing well. Today we're going to watch something that's, well, we kind of got a hint of it a while back, about a week or so ago. Excuse me 1 second. Ooh, bit of a frog in my throat. Excuse me. That time of year, that time of season, dry throat. Excuse me. All right, so yeah, we're basically taking a look at early film. I've done a series on Eddie Murphy, still continuing. Actually, today the Christian Church was celebrating, or at least some places, St. Herman of Alaska, Aleutian Islands. And so this week was supposed to be Coming to America, the original and reboot or sequel, if you will, whatever you want to call it. Again, I got so much going on. My apologies for canceling that too. But I will pick that up next week. I shouldn't have any issues. I do have some good news finally for a change, thanks to, how can I put it? A peer. Let's just leave it at that. And I don't want to puff him up or put him on the spot and say too much, but he came in big for me and was able to pay the electric bill. Yay! Got more heat for a month, so that's good. Appreciate it. Much, much appreciated. And so I'm helping him out. He's hired me contract work for a month to help him rebrand, and yeah, can't thank him enough for that. So that's good news. Nice change of pace there for me. I'm still, of course, doing my teaching bit. Chinese Americans, not so much lately, but yep, and that's still an ongoing battle. As you know, I'm Christian apologetically, a sinner, repentful sinner nonetheless. And frankly, that's between me and God, but don't claim to be perfect or know everything, as they say. But I'm also not going to not any longer just deny who I am and who I love and who I want to be, because the world has been turned into this hypocritical fascist, anti-Christian, anti-European, anti-white, anti-man, quote-unquote traditional man, and so on, beast. So that's true with when I work with the Chinese, and I have to recite this propaganda I'm given, this education modules, education, communist education, quite literally. I'm just honest, and so I'm just a matter of time before I'm officially canned there. Right now, they're just weeding me out slowly but surely, but yeah, that'll come to an end. So thankfully, I'm very happy for these other folks, and of course, there's another one, original one that is trying to help me out in the same fashion. Interestingly, he wants me to help him do video editing and so on. So that meeting, we'll see. Hopefully that pans out too. We'll see where this takes me. It's nice to know that my skills that I've worked very hard to acquire, masters and all these things, kind of paying off in time of need, so to speak. And that's just really by their good graces, to be, if I'm going to be honest. But in all fairness to me too, they recognize what I'm capable of doing. So hopefully it'll work out for everyone. At any rate, yeah, it's a nice change of pace for me. Happy to share with you good folks, some good news for a change. So enough of that. So yeah, basically Eddie Murphy, we've focused on cathedral films for a while. We did some watch parties there. Some of those were really good. The last one watched, I really enjoyed, especially. And I'm a Chuck Woolery fan, so I'm probably biased when I say The Prize was a fun one too. And that was also a bit more modern, so that was a nice change of pace. But yeah, today we're going to go back again to the roots of Hollywood, and that's what I've been focusing on lately. These the origins of Hollywood. And I know there's all these Zionists out there that want to, I don't know, for whatever reason, just be asinine and belligerent towards people like me. And I understand they're, a polemicist for Islam. And so they're dealing with people that are insanely evil and hateful toward God's people. So they're addressing that too, but they're also addressing anyone. It's just more mass media propaganda is what's been going on for over a century now, which is Hebrew supremacy. But it's also Masonic, it's also crafty, serving the evil ones. And these are things that I've demonstrated that are in the roots of Hollywood, mass media at large, but I've been focusing on Hollywood. So those people that, say things, I don't get my paycheck from the cabal and stupid ass stuff. I just, basically they're arguing and they're standing on one leg. Why don't they just have integrity and just say, yeah, this is evil, that's evil. Evil is evil. Instead of just, I don't know what they're doing. And I don't know why. It's just very wrong. It's just, you know them by their fruits. And if they want to claim it's not for money, that's fine. Then that's maybe even arguably even worse. At least maybe that way they have an excuse. But then why are they such extreme Zionists with extreme prejudice and hypocritically, hateful in the process? Oh, but also deceiving the masses. Forcing in this dichotomy, you got to choose between Islam and Judaism, which is, again, where's Christ in that? So yeah, yet another production company. We had the Cathedral Films, which was Episcopalian, Anglican, whatever. Um, and that was, mostly TV movies and TV products, but it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. It was definitely a breath of fresh air to have actual Christian movies that wasn't saturated with the typical Hebrew or Masonic, sexual deviancy or malice or these kinds of things. It was quite wonderful. It was joyful. I will see if I can find more of that stuff and get it, and simultaneously or additionally, I also have to get it past copyright protection. That doesn't always work. Thankfully, Cathedral Films had a lot more good fortune with that. So I'll try to share more of the find and share. I mean, you guys, most of the stuff that I've tried to upload, and it takes me a long time to do it. I'd say a couple of hours per one movie to upload. And it's also taxing my computer, which is also on its last leg, to do that every time. But anyway, but most of my stuff has been rejected by the copyright. So my apologies for that. I did try doing stuff that doesn't get through copyright, but it's older. It should have been okay to do, especially using the fair use approach. But it's just a mess right now. Corporations just, they make up laws as they go and they get away with it. So I tried doing a watch party on Rumble. Rumble ended up taking that last one down. And so I have to set it where it's private and only members of my Rumble account can watch these things. And I did one right before that way, but I didn't get any feedback as to whether or not anyone watched it. It seemed like nobody watched it that way. I don't know if it's because that method is not working or not. I'm just not getting any feedback. So that's why I was discouraged from continuing to do it that way. But to watch other movies that I'd like to share with you that should be okay to share under fair use, in all reality, I'm going to try that again, but I need feedback from you guys to know that it's working and I'm just here wasting my time. I've got a lot going on in my life. As you know, I'm fighting for my life. So spending hours for nothing is just not fruitful for me at this point. So I'd appreciate the feedback. To that end, let me go ahead and share my link to Rumble in case you're not already subscribed there. It only costs you a click. And this way we can have access to what I just described, among other things. By the way, please don't give me the donations. I'm still working on getting the Rumble donation situation sorted out. So if you just happen to feel generous and want to donate, please let me know first, and so I can make arrangements for that instead of you giving me money on Rumble and then I'm having problems because PayPal is a horrendous fascist organization, as we found out from the lockdown and the trucker strike in Canada and so on. So anyway, they're evidently anti-Greek too. Surprise, surprise. All right. So let me share where do I begin. I've got a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to zip through it so I'm not babbling, so we can get to the watch party. I know you guys want to watch this movie we started. It seemed really interesting, The Desert Bride. This is now, we've done a lot on Paramount Pictures, the Jesse Lasky and CCB DeMille, and Goldwyn was in and out of that, and at least at the beginning. Later, collectively joined or created the MGM. But yeah, so now we're going to focus for a minute on Columbia Pictures. Actually, you know what? Here, let me give you some background. I should have already. Give me 1 second. Here, let me just do let me do a Wikipedia. Let's see, Columbia Pictures. 1 second. My apologies. Sure, I had it up. I have several tabs up already, so it's just okay. Let me share my screen. Let's take a look at this together real quick, and I'm sure. Let's say it's accurate. Usually is, not always, but usually is accurate. Okay, can you guys? All right, make that bigger somehow. Yeah, I don't like this. Let's do this. That's a little better. No, that doesn't make any difference. Okay. So Columbia Pictures, let's see. That's not helping. Okay. All right, let's see. Yeah, I can see 1918. So this is early film. As we saw, the first feature was from Paramount. And so the Squaw Man, if you guys remember that from about a couple of months ago, and it had all the fixings, all the CRT things and the sexism and all this stuff, or I should say feminism, and yada yada from the very beginning, pro-paganism, as we saw, and so on. All of that was in the very first full feature film. I know The Birth of a Nation, the Masonic production, 3 hours long, is considered the first full feature. But really, it was Squaw Man a year earlier. The Birth of a Nation was 1915, Squaw Man 1914. Anyway, so here we have 1918. Just 3 years later, Columbia Pictures coming in on the Jew bought Hollywood, literally named Hollywood by Jews who bought that land and then established all these movie production companies on it. So let's see. Okay, so we have the Brandt Cohn brother. There's Jack and Harry Cohn. These are two brothers. They're both Jewish. And Brandt, Joe Brandt, he's also Jewish. Now, Joe doesn't really sound Jewish, but Joseph, yeah, okay. So yeah, here we have again. I mean, so you guys can see it actually. So you don't think I'm making things up. Cohn was born in New York, son of Joseph, a Jewish tailor. All right. And there's a tailor. There's a change of pace, not a entertaining person. All right, Harry Cohn, his brother, Jewish family, of course, New York City. Go figure. Joe Brandt looks very Jewish. Joe Brandt was born in New York, Jewish parents, and there you go. Yeah. And I've got to do it every time I think of it.
There you go. There you go. So there you go.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just skipping the rest of the details. You guys can look up into different things about Columbia Pictures if you like. As you can see, it's got the Justicia, Statue of Liberty emblem. Some weird things going on with that. You should also know it was purchased by Sony. Sony is a Japanese company. This happened around, let me see, actually, I think I got something up. Yes, I do. Perfect. All right, let me share this real quick. Okay, LA Times. Viable, right? I mean, I don't think Snopes is going to challenge any LA Times articles. This is, as you see, it's September 1989. Let me make sure you guys are seeing this. Yes. Okay, let me use something different so I can highlight this. You're not seeing my... Okay, there we go. Now you can see it. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so let's see. 1989. Sony immediately is pledged. Let's see. Sony executives said they were in the talks with producers. They're basically retaining people, kind of like Alexander the Great is actually known for implementing it. He's accredited for innovating this thing where you take people over, but you still keep their leadership in place. It helps with, let's say, management, with allocating resources, as we put it, in quote-unquote best practices and MBAs and project management and PMBOK and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's what they did. Sony bought them out. The price was billions. I think it was 3.5 billion. Oh, here it is, right here, 3.4 billion. The very first paragraph. Let me highlight that for you. 3.4 billion in cash. Must be nice. Yeah, and so they've also been pursuing Disney for quite a while. Disney is a beast when it comes to media. A beast that owns pretty much everything. That's maybe overstating it, but yeah, it's a powerhouse. It was pretty much, let's say, the last holdout when it comes to American media, Hollywood, the movie production industry, which was huge when it comes to global economics and America's foothold in that, or its dominance for a minute, particularly right after World War II, when its industrial war machine became domestic, and they started producing all these appliances and TV. I mean, remember, the TV is an American innovation. The auto industry from the early 20th century on, all these things. The auto industry, I mean, when we had the U.S. bailouts in the year 2007, 8, definitely 8. I think it actually really started at 07, even though they say 08, 09. And Chrysler, Iacocca they were mocked for asking just a fraction of what the banks and the insurance companies, those scam artists and extortion rackets, hustlers, were asking for. Just a fraction, just to maintain the American auto industry, quintessential America. But yeah, just to continue the Rust Belt fashion and what was taking place in the 90s, they were mocked by mass media, and they were not allowed. And they got bought out by a German company, Chrysler did. But I mean, the rest was all bought out by Japanese interests and so on. So, but yeah, like going back to the 90s, when this purchase was made by Sony of Columbia Pictures, a stalwart, a powerhouse of Hollywood. This was at a time in the 90s, culturally speaking, and the culture is created for mass media, right? So culturally speaking, it was quite a change. We already had all this crazy stuff in the 60s, what they call the British invasion with all the Satanism and all this stuff, but also the communist degradation, as we all can repeatedly hear how Yuri Bezmenov talked about in the 70s and 80s. But yeah, in the 90s, I mean, it really turned it up quite a bit. It took a heavy metal magazine to an extreme, if anyone's familiar with that. And it became a thing of, like, everyone wanted to be Madonna. Everyone wanted to not only push the envelope, but to just break the barriers and be as crazy as you possibly can. And the pardon my English, the asshole was something that was idolized in that culture. So basically, if you were just obnoxious and evil towards others, you were glamorized. And that was especially came through on the MTV channel, television. MTV went from music videos to programming like Beavis and Butthead and Tom Green, eventually Jackass, and all these other obnoxious things that were just, Orange County, Jack Black, and so on. So, I mean, Fox 2 had a role in that, with Married with Children and all that before that, but it really the 90s. So it was a game changer. And then, the Y2K scare, the turn of the century, the 9/11 event, it was game over after that. And then, of course, U.S. bailouts. And now the lockdown put the nail in the coffin and now forced everyone on the internet. The new Hollywood or 30 Rock, if you will. So, yeah. Basically, that's why you see them in the thumbnail. What is the Wolverine Deadpool movie doing in there? Because that is something that represents how Sony has also been pursuing, as I mentioned, Walt Disney Marvel, which is one and the same now. And they made a backdoor deal of sorts, kind of a merger of sorts, so they can create that movie, which was made all kinds of money, of course, all kinds of advertising and so on. People showed up, and the usual suspects, neurotic and so on. Oh, how wonderful it is. They're also promoting Barbie, and I'm like, oh my God. So, yeah, here we go again. No lesson has been learned. Lord have mercy. So, yeah, I'm jumping around a bit. Let me go ahead and share the link let me share this too so you guys can see it. The Cathedral films, because this is just such a, comparatively speaking, breath of fresh air. I'm going to share this link with you guys in chat. So you can have access to this information yourself. It's not always easy to find. Yeah. So let's go on to the next thing from here. We talked about the Sony, the BRICS, basically. And I know Japan's not officially part of BRICS, but considering how, to some degree, as of late anyway, Japan is starting to become secondhand man to China. I mean, especially when you look at Sony itself, its products, its distribution of tangible products. Yeah, they've definitely, I mean, China just got its foothold in everything economically. It's not so much the military power, which they also have, and especially boots on the ground. I mean, they've got practically a quarter of the world's population in China. And now with the laws now being changed where families can have more than one child, how that was implemented to begin with, I don't know that much. I should look into that. But yeah, I mean, the numbers are going to continue to grow. So, yeah. Meanwhile, Europe, the Christians, their rates are decreasing economically because of economic oppression. So, yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem, and it's not about pride, who's got more, who's going to be dominating, but a problem where the Christian nations, the ones who, by the way, abolished slavery way before the U.S. did, I mean, it's ongoing in Africa. It's ongoing definitely in China. Communism is slave driving. So was their imperial leadership before that. China was always slave driving their own people. Japan, same thing. I mean, the Japanese feudalism is just disturbing. Harry Carey, you ever heard of that? That's an honor thing. No, it's an honor killing of yourself. What the hell is that? And they also beheaded people like Muslims. Chinese too. Japanese killed, assassinated the Christians when they went over there, just like the Muslims do. China the same. So, I mean, these pagan cultures, India, horrendous, another pagan, currently pagan. Slavery, indentured servitude, yeah. Slavery, I don't know if I can say slavery with India. Africa certainly continues, especially under Islam, but otherwise. South America, yeah, yes, definitely before the Europeans came over. They were enslaving each other, especially the Incans. Aztecs were doing the same. They were doing the same. They were horrendous. And we covered that briefly when we did the Montezuma flick. But yeah, you know, it's a problem, people. It's not about world domination. It's about the one religion that's saving everyone from all this evil is being targeted by everyone else. And unfortunately, all this infighting only hurts matters, especially when you got quote-unquote Christian apologists doing nothing but forcing in that false dichotomy of having to choose between Islam and Judaism. Again, where's the Christ in that? So, yeah, and that's what we're covering today. Let's see, share this. Oh, perfect. Okay, so again, the movie we're going to watch is called The Desert Bride. Let's take a look at this. And Paul Seliff, actually, the award-winning author, Paul Seliff, the Seliffian Report, yesterday, in fact, did another good one on Islam's current slave trade, and so on. But this is what's going on in the UK. I'm going to argue one of the heads of the beast, but I don't want to get into that because people get their panties in a bunch when I talk about that. So let's take a look at this video real quick so you can see for yourself.
Up. You try running, fella, and you've got problems. Sit your ass in there. Sit your fucking ass down.
Oh, pardon the language. My apologies. And that's not very cordial of the British. I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. I mean, the Brits tend to, even when they're like aggressing you or getting angry at you and cursing you, they can be quite cordial and polite even when they're doing that. So you can see, even though he cursed, he used the F word, he's still actually being cordial. Where I would say some Americans, especially some good old boys, but even the thugs in the ghetto or what have you, this guy would have been bloodied up by now. Yeah, and definitely the words would not be as cordial. So let's continue looking.
Sit your fucking ass down. Do not move. Yeah, you try running, and I'll put you on the deck.
Okay, what was that TV show? Actually, say not that long ago, but actually it's been to catch a predator. That one, again, I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, yeah, they're exposing something that needed to be exposed, but I get the feeling that it was To Catch a Predator that actually made MySpace famous. I never heard of MySpace myself until that show, but yeah, I mean, I kind of sometimes wondered if some of this stuff is a double-edged sword. But anyway, I mention it because the look in this guy's eye is kind of like the look in the guy's eyes in that series when they get caught, when they're like showing up to do the nasty with little children, and then instead there's a camera guy coming out, and there's all those people rushing out, and they're like, "Hey, you know, why are you here?" Blah blah blah, and they know they've been had, and the police are waiting for them. So this is what's going on with this guy right now.
Roisin,
My daughter was attacked by one of your
do you come and hold this?
over fucking pizza. You skanky little fucker.
Find the place, get the place here, because this one's going to be a bit of pain. I don't care.
You're not sorry.
No, we don't give a shit if you're sorry, mate.
I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Right, what?
Okay, so he's sorry that he was caught. This is also very common. Yeah, I didn't do anything. I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. I was just playing. I'm sorry. Later, when they're in the being questioned by the police, and they realize there's nothing they could do they've been caught. The evidence is overwhelming. Then they start, "Oh, I'm sorry," and start crying, and "Please let me go. It was, didn't mean it."
Are you here to meet this child for?
I don't know, sir. She said we'll just meet up.
No, you're the one who initiated the meet, not the child. We've got all the evidence. We've got everything. We've got every message you've sent. We've got screenshotted.
I'm so sorry about this.
I don't care if you're sorry. Too fucking late.
Okay, that's enough of that because of the language. But you guys get the idea. Thankfully, these citizens are stepping up. I'm assuming they're citizens. I don't know too much about this background, this video, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, getting right into it. Oh, this is one that I shared. Let me share this real quick. Now, someone told me this is AI generated. I mean, FAR 4 and all that. I don't know why they were so quick to say this is AI generated when we've already seen children doing this. Is it because it's a girl? And all of a sudden, we got to maintain the mass media parroting and the sexism, the feminism, which we also see in the circles, and I'm quite sick of that too. Why is it that the women in Islam are portrayed victims and only victims, and the men are portrayed as the oppressors of women and the benefactors of it? So if you're gonna maintain a mindset and make that argument, well, you know what? It's made by men, and men are benefiting from it. So you're saying that polygamy is good. You're saying that all this vile behavior is good. You like it, is what you're saying when you make that argument. Or are you saying evil is evil, and therefore men are suffering, even in that situation? I mean, frankly, if I had 2 wives, I'd be suffering. Never mind 4 or whatever. We didn't even know how many Muhammad had. He had over a dozen. Does anyone know what the official count of Muhammad? Never mind child bride, Aisha, and his own daughter. And the short's still coming up. All kinds of things come. But that's coming up too. All his deviancy. The next one is on his pedophilia. So I'm just quite tired, though, of people, 1, not focusing on Christ, and then 2, making excuses for all this thing. But it's parroting mass media. And that includes the Zionism, especially that, but also this feminism nonsense. Yeah, Musliminas, even at this age, are evil too. Stop pretending that they're victims and only victims. Cut the crap out. Stop the man hating. You stop being anti-Christian craftily. I don't know if they're doing it intentionally or not. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Shut the hell up. Put a cork in it. Scumbags. Stop it. Stop man hating. You hate yourselves. And this is coming from people that have no fathers. That one of them is a sociopath that killed his father, stabbed his father, and so on and so forth. So it goes to reason that they're making these kind of asinine mass media, Trekkies, anime fans, the whole nine yards. We're dealing with riffraff here that are conditioning and misleading the masses, and I'm quite sick of it. Okay, a man's a man, a woman's a woman. A man needs to be the man of the house. A woman needs to be the woman of the house. You have problems with the definition of a woman. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you should become Japanese and Harry Carey. I don't know, like the demons, the demonic ones, evil ones want you to do. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say to people anymore. But it needs to stop. So yeah, we've got a girl that's jihadi. What's the problem? Going on to the next thing. So this is, again, Mr. Paul Sutliff. I should say, again, correct myself here. The award-winning author, Paul Sutliff. Hey! Wait. A quick hello, just a bit nippy outside. God bless you. Hey, God bless you too, Janice. You just missed my rant about feminism. So you're just in time for that. I don't know if you're still here or not, but yeah. If you're still here and you want to come up, I was hoping that Slim would still be around. I don't know if he's still around or not, but I've been wanting to talk to someone about, and this is probably for a different stream, maybe not so much, even though I've mentioned Freemasonry here. That's not really my focus today. My focus is on Islam, but in early Hollywood, of course. But I really want to talk about the Scottish Rite. And I know you're not Scottish, but you're a jump, skip, and hop away from Scotland. So, and it is the UK, United Kingdom. If you have any experiences and knowledge and would be willing to share that publicly or privately send me a message. I think you have my email, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you have my email. So send me a private message and email if you want. If you have some kind of information you want to share, but want to do it anonymously, I'd greatly appreciate it. I mean, that's something that needs to be covered, especially again in lieu of, the what is being credited as a full first feature, The Birth of a Nation, 1915, which we saw was had Masonic roots in it. Anyway, so let me get back to Paul Sutliff here. Mr. Paul Sutliff, award winner, author. Let's go to the next side of these. Oh, I should have shared. Let me share the links for that. 1 second. My apologies, folks. I'm being unprofessional here, rookie. I'm going to go ahead and share the link to that one video of the pedo Brett migrant that was caught, Lord B, in chat. Also, the link to, I already shared that. The link to, yep. This is the link to Cathedral Films. If you want to look into their films. Come on. There it goes. All right. And this one was the pedo that was caught, the Muslim pedo. The one with the little girl, since someone's claiming that it's AI generated, I don't believe it. But I won't share that, but whatever. I think that's BS. The article for the LA Times of the purchase of what we're watching today, a Columbia Pictures production, Columbia Corporation Pictures Corporation originally, being purchased by Sony, Japanese interest, which by extension is BRICS. And again, BRICS from Russia. The 60s was also communist movement, as we saw in the 70s, and the Kennedys and their efforts to root it out, but for their efforts got assassinated instead. And now I'm curious about this RFK guy, who's now appointed as the health director or whatever, and Yeah, his thing was, he was like, as far as I know, the only guy who's saying anything real about the lethal vaxes or the lockdown or anything. So, and he's a Kennedy. So, of course, we're all waiting for the Donalds to get assassinated, but essentially it's really his own people. But also, yeah, RFK, the guy who's taking on Big Pharma. Is he going to make it? I don't know. I mean, I hope he makes it and makes a big difference, but I don't see it. I mean, too many brainwashed idiots out there, if not anything else. What do we have here? Okay, let's go ahead and watch this real quick. Let me put it back. Put it back a bit. Make sure it's on stage. Yeah, you guys can see it. Let's go back to, come on.
Nice that they hide that from us. Oh, they want to protect our eyes for their Lord was mighty. Think about it. It's written like this over in
perfect
translation. It's as if.
Okay.
All right.
So basically, let me just read it to you guys real quick here. As you can see, it's saying here, it is unlawful to marry, for a man to marry his mother, although in a previous Sharia law coverage, we saw that a mother can have sex with her retarded children. And I'm not making this up. This isn't Sharia law. Again, look it up, Paul Sola's videos. And it's also on my channel. I think it's one I shared on my channel as well. So yeah, it is. Actually, it is. You can find it on my own channel. So this is a Sharia law. It's official. So, and again, this is Islam, and Sharia law is the same. Just like the Quran and everything else, it's full of contradictions. It contradicts itself regularly. In fact, sometimes in the same paragraph, but not the same sentence, or certainly the next page. So yeah, so it says it's unlawful, but yet it also says you're allowed to do it. Whatever. Grandmothers, unless they're, as we saw October 7th in Israel, unless they're, kafir. Daughters, unless you're Muhammad. For one example, the example according to Islam. And again, that's coming up in my short. Via Rob Christian. Daughters of children, sisters. Okay, daughters, brothers, sisters. All right, congratulations. Let's move on. This is not what I wanted. Unlawful to marry. Okay, this is not what I wanted. My apologies. Should have had this. Oh, here he's talking about incest and making it illegal.
Is because he thinks all Westerners are stupid.
And more generally, to run health education programs targeting those communities where the practice is most common. I would therefore urge the House to vote against this motion and to find a more positive approach to addressing the issues that are caused by first cousin marriages, including the health risks and the consequences of modern conflicts and displacement of population.
So what he's saying is the real issue here is that Muslims are coming to the West. Wait a minute. So this is
okay. So there's arguably a voice reason. I'm going to share the full video here in chat for you as well. But there was a part here that I wanted to get to that I'm fumbling around with a bit. My apologies.
I'm just going to pull this up. I did this.
No. Oy vey. Okay. I guess it was later.
Conflict, and you want to outlaw having our cousin marriages? Or are you saying something else? The woman's way of talking about they're talking about now.
Oh, come on.
It says in the Google Translate, but if a man's marriage to one of the aforementioned women ends and the waiting period ends, there's nothing wrong with him marrying another.
Okay, and the waiting period is to make sure they're not pregnant. We're talking about marrying virgins too in here. The interpretation following Muslim. Man can marry his own daughter. See, there you go. I mean, so before this, we already read that a mother can have sex with their retarded children. Now we're seeing that even though it just said it's unlawful to marry your wife, the interpretation of the following verse by the Muslim scholar, Qurtubi, whatever, clearly teaches that a man can marry his own daughter or his sister who was conceived from an adulterous relationship. Adulterous relationship. So that's pretty much defining Islam, period. I mean, what are you talking about? Yeah, so let me go on to the next thing. Okay, so the owned woman. Now we're talking clearly slavery again. Again, all this stuff about Europeans and their slave driving, but nothing about Islam. And again, I had a lesson today where I had to teach about how evil the white people are, and their slave drivers and their segregation. We're talking about segregation hasn't existed in forever, especially not in her lifetime. So why am I teaching this crap to her when the segregation is directed currently in the 21st century toward the white Christian man? That's who's being oppressed right now. That should be the conversation, if they actually care about anybody.
M6.5, the same categories of relatives were.
Okay, let's move on to the next thing. I'm sure I'm going to find what I'm looking for. But we're finding a lot of gems. Of course, it is Islam, so to speak, along the way. Okay. Here we go. It is unlawful for a Muslim man to marry a Zoroastrian woman, pagan, no arguments here, an idol worshiper. Now, Muslims call Christians idol worshippers, Trinitarian, amongst other things. So, unfortunately, there's some Christian infighting where Christians call some traditional, the foundation of Christianity, by the way, idol worshippers. But let's not get into that. We don't want to talk about that. And I will cover that actually Sunday, the Crusades. We're going to focus a little bit on the Fourth Crusade and the iconoclasm and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, enough's enough. An apostate from Islam. So, yeah, you can't marry someone who left Islam. Or a woman with one parent who is Jewish or Christian, while the other is Zoroastrian. Okay, so the libtards want to show solidarity with this because they're, quote, open-minded and they believe in equality and all this other nonsense, didactic, dialectic, hypocritical fascism. But they want to hate on Christianity. Now, Christianity teaches the exact opposite. It actually discourages from Judaism on the mixing of tribes for the reasons that are obvious. People want to be with their own. There's problems when you mix, obviously. But you also don't want to become a Satan worshiper, long story short, a servant of Satan. Anti-Christian back then, anti-Hebrew. And now that's the old covenant. They should repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. All the Jews should come to Christ. But, yeah, I mean, it also says in the New Testament that you can marry a non-Christian because your faith covers your spouses. In other words, a woman can marry a non-Christian man and a man can marry a non-Christian woman. But now the problem is that if you do that and now you start losing your identity, your faith does not cover you, then you divorce. Or should they, because they're not Christian, don't care about divorce and leave you, like we see in modern, westernized, communized, paganized through Freemasonry America and its mass media, where all these houses are destroyed, everyone's divorcing, and it's gone even beyond that now, where nobody even wants to marry. They just have, get onto the, OnlyFriends, and, do each other. And there was something before that, between that and Snapchat, which was popular. I can't remember. That's the thing now. Not to mention having sex with inanimate objects and your hands and so on, and enjoying the porn, the free porn on via www, which equals 666 in Hebrew. So in all this stuff, that's where we're at. All of this is anti-Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Hindu, whether you're Buddhist, whether you're just outright pagan, what have you. All of this is all the same ball of anti-Christian wax. And it all leads to the same thing. Now, you can call them extreme if you want. I'll wear that, that slander as a badge of honor. I'd rather be with Christ than all this other nonsense. And if you hate me for it, that's on you. And that includes all the quote-unquote Christian apologists. They can all kiss my anus too. If they don't like it, they should. And some of them are coming around. Some of them are manning up and cutting the nonsense, at least around me. Glory be to God in all things. Okay, so that is the difference here, what I'm trying to demonstrate. And this was Corinthians 1, if you're interested, chapter 6 and 7. It talks about that, it goes into details about what I'm talking about. Here, but you see, there's a lot of bigotry. Yet, mass media owners want to show solidarity with this via Jewish Hollywood. Jewish Hollywood is what set this up, and Freemason Hollywood. Again, Jews established Hollywood, micromanaged it, but Freemasons have infiltrated and really arguably controlled it as well from the beginning, arguably. Okay. And that includes its mafia. If you don't want to believe whatever reason, even though you can see for yourself, again, the prime example of the birth of a nation, not only produced by a Freemason, but made popular by Freemasons via controversy, making it viral, via Boston paper. Oh, and by the way, what about the Academy Awards? The very first Academy Awards was in the Masonic Temple of California. Yeah. Los Angeles, right there, right in the heart. And ever since that following, there's the year after, and then from then on, it was, or at least for a while, across the street, right of the Masonic Temple. But of course, that's without getting into what is the Academy Awards, the Oscar, and all these things. What is that supposed to represent? And all these things. I'm not even getting into that. I'm just giving you the facts. Anyone denying these facts? I don't want to drop your names and being an ass about it. I mean, I don't know what to say for them. They're apologists for not only Zionism with extreme prejudice and communist approach, blocking everyone, even if you speak any kind of truth about it. But also an apologist for Freemasonry. Oh, it's a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy. What are you person in your face. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why? I mean, at this point, when you start asking why they're like that, why are they like that? And getting thousands and thousands of followers where I'm getting silenced and ostracized for speaking what everyone needs to be speaking. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand, essentially. All right, I think that's all I got for Mr. Paul Sutliff, too. Yep. Okay, so the rest is pretty much, I'm going to get into that. Yeah, I'm going to get into that with our Sunday viewing. So let's go and get to the movie. Let me pull that up. Where do I have that? Too many tabs. What is going on? Something very strange going on here, folks. I just had my movie up and it's disappeared on me. How did that happen? Okay, let me click out of this too. Share the link. Give me a second, folks. I got to repop this up. And YouTube just changed everything. It makes it impossible. They keep taking steps. They've just reformatted everything where they made it even more difficult for us to access each other. To keep in touch with people that you usually follow and all this stuff, but also for the content creators to find their content and all that. It's just I'm quite sick of it all. Quite sick of it. But I gotta keep going. Why the hell excuse my language, did it take me over here? God almighty. Patience. Breathe, Nico, breathe. Playlists. I've got to do this a long way now. I used to have an easy access tab to all my videos. Now I've got to finagle my way through this. Come on, man. 1 second. My apologies. This is Eddie Murphy. That's not what I clicked on. Come on. Breathe. Breathe. Okay. Desert Bride. Here we go. Share. Yeah, you guys have no idea how much torture it is for me to watch these movies. Just when I'm doing my research and reviews, those movies, those that are I'm scrutinized, watching every single minute, breaking it down, both the audios separately and then visuals separately, and taking notes and rewatching and stuff like that, and then having to create a presentation and then share with you guys, and then so reiterate it and relive it. I mean, it's been hell. It's been personal abuse to me as a Christian for over a decade. And that's before I got into doing this kind of research, academic, really doctoral, postgraduate at the very least, type of research to share with you guys, because, you know, universities want to ostracize me too, even though they love my research framework. And some of which admitted that they can't create what I've created. They want to ostracize me too. Anyway, enough of that. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. At last. Where are we in? Oh, only an hour in. That's an hour-long rant. My apologies. Okay, so an hour in, your premise, you got a good background of who's producing it, what's going on around behind the scenes, and so on and so forth. So let's take a look at the Desert Bride, 1928, Columbia Pictures. Enjoy. And again, feel free to come up on the panel at any point. And of course, comment. Here we go.
I'd buy that for $1. Screw 'em! Screw the government! Screw 'em!
Do you think so?
You know, I've been thinking.
You see what I'm saying? What are you prepared to do?
Everything within the law.
And then what are you prepared to do?
What if this is as good as it gets?
Oh.
buy that for $1.
Bing! Bing again! Bing!
Bing!
Brilliant! 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 Brilliant!
righty then. Let's just recap by two things. First,
Are you crazy? Or just plain stupid?
Stupid as stupid does, Mrs. Blue.
I guess.
No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy. You hear that in there?
yep. All right. So actually, you know, overall, I thought that was pretty good. 1928 film, Columbia Pictures. Yeah, as we saw, eventually they crumbled in the late 20th century and got bought out, a hostile takeover by Sony. And the rest is modern history. But yeah, you know, look, what can I say? I actually like this film. I like the music in the late 20s. I'm assuming that was the music that was part of the actual reel. So that was the music that the audiences were watching back then, or listening to, I should say. The writing was, you know, it was it's political, obviously, so to speak. It was, of course, as we can see in hindsight, 2020, we can now see with a full body of evidence over a century's worth, that was critical race theory. You know, it was Euro bashing, and the emasculation, the feminism, and that kind of thing was, again, it's not just only the evidence and me speaking, putting into words what you're actually witnessing for yourself over and over and over again with everything that we do here. But also, if you want to take the academic approach, there's plenty of people that cover this academically, including Jay Dyer, especially Frankfurt School and all that kind of thing. So, Project Mockingbird, you know. Anyway, yeah. So, and again, this Project Mockingbird also, as I've said time and again, these are all undisclosed documents now, so anyone can access them and see for yourself. And I encourage everyone to do that. Let me also, again, focus how this is not only Hollywood, but as you saw in my thumbnail, let me see here. Actually, you know what? Here. Let's take a look at this. Yeah. So Harlequin is, for those who are not familiar, these were romance novels, now novellas, if you want, that had all kinds of thematic things going on. It was always the Andrew Tate type alpha male, as they say these days, that was just completely dominating the woman and just ravaging her. And so, of course, who else to do that than a Muslim? And this what they called romance novel is really just soft porn for underage children, called The Desert Bride, just like in this early 20th century movie. But yeah, I mean, again, this stuff is throughout media, and shame on traders. That's fair to say, traders like Jack Shaheen and the like, and especially YouTube and all the socialist fascist media. And as we know, and again, looking at BRICS, communism and Islam are hand in hand. And that's why the libtards show solidarity, or have been prompted or conditioned, rather, to show solidarity with such a vile pagan cult. Okay, but yeah, you know, as far as production quality or early 20th century film, you know, overall it was, I mean, not super, it was a bit redundant. Some of the, even though it was only an hour long, some of it dragged a bit because it was a bit redundant. But overall, you know, I like the plot twists. The acting was pretty good, I thought, for that era, for a silent film. Compared to some other things I've seen, I thought that was comparatively good. Yeah, I mean, production value, I'd give it like a 6, 7. What do you guys think? Is anybody out there? I got one viewer. Everyone else has appeared on me. I guess they didn't like the angry rant at the beginning. I mean, you know, it was over a week with all these things going on, the tooth, food poisoning, the job, interview that keeps getting pushed back. And of course, patching up all these holes in my home, and dealing with leaks and trying to get my own life squared away and so on. It's just it's one thing after the other. So forgive me, but I've been wanting to talk about these things for a while, and just so yeah, it came out that way. It came out a bit suppressed. But yeah, I mean, everything I say, I stand by it. It's on point. I challenge anyone, including, if not especially Christians, to prove me wrong. And if I'm wrong, I have no issues owning up to that. In fact, I regularly invite people, my viewers, to correct me if you catch me saying something wrong. Not only to do my viewers, everyone else, a service, but me as well. So, quite the opposite of these other Zionist jokers and so on. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, look, yeah, this is not, I don't know, Gandhi, if you will. But yeah, I gotta say it was pretty good. It was fair. The propaganda, yeah, at the beginning there was some pro-Islam stuff going on, but the rest was pretty what Shaheen would call Islamophobic. But as we all know, completely accurate. Whether you want to look at current events or Sharia law or the Quran or Hadith or so on, it's spot on. So call it what you want. It's still reality. And unfortunately, and this was 100 years ago, 1928, pretty much 100 years ago this film was made. Still a reality. Still sex slave trade going on publicly up until recently. Recently, I mean like a few years ago, like, I don't know, less than 10 years ago, less than a decade ago. Middle East country, I think it was Saudi Arabia, I could be wrong, was forced to stop publicly trading slaves publicly. In other words, not to stop trading them, but to stop doing it publicly so, they're not being in the news. Lord have mercy. And this is who the libtards want to show solidarity with, quote unquote. All right. I think that's all I got for you guys today. Again, I'm doing another watch party for The Crusades, another early film. Sunday afternoon, Standard Eastern Time, around 2 p.m., 2 to 3 p.m. I usually go around 2:30, the midpoint, to try to make it easy on everyone. Hopefully, I get to see folks that I didn't see there. I know, give the gospel. God bless her. She sent me a message that says she's trying to wean herself off of this www, and I could completely relate. Yeah, so if I ever got kicked off completely off of the internet, one way or another, either my computer crashing or get completely censored or both, I mean, for me, that would be a blessing. But that being said, I feel compelled to be in the belly of the beast, to do what I can to free people's minds from all this brainwashing. That includes the right, the conservatives, the Christians, and so on, ever-Trumpers, and yada, yada. Yeah, so Sunday, I'll see you guys there. Again, we're going to cover a bit and not only do the watch party, but I'll do some production notes at the beginning, and hopefully not an hour long. Just again, add some suppressed things that went on for quite a bit. It was quite emotional, but it'll definitely be a different tone in a couple of days and much shorter, much shorter. And we'll follow that up with a discussion about the Fourth Crusade and iconoclasm, that kind of thing. Those realities that some Christians want to cover up because it's embarrassing, as we say about the Muslims, and that's not by coincidence. So we'll do that Sunday. I mean, it's not exactly the kind of thing I want to cover on a Sunday, but since it's one of his, and going back to Cecil B. DeMille there, Paramount Pictures, one of his quote-unquote religious films, we'll make that a Sunday film and have that discussion then. That, again, we celebrated in the Christian church, the original Christian church that's still alive and sustained, preserved to this day, the Saint Herman of Alaska. So, yeah, again, I was going to do Coming to America and the reboot this Wednesday. We'll do it next Wednesday. And I mean, it's all stuff. All this stuff goes hand in hand. So then we'll talk about the whole xenophobia thing, which is revving up. You know, they're using this border issue and the Muslims and all that to further hate their roots. And I mean, the white Americans that want to, well, let me be frank, be supremacist and Eurobash, and pretend America invented this and that and the other, when it didn't. It didn't do democracy. It didn't abolish slavery. Actually, Europeans were the ones who abolished slavery, and so on. So let's stop the Eurobashing, huh? Stop insulting your great-grandparents. Shame on you. Have some integrity. Have some self-respect. If it wasn't for the European nations, we'd all already be in a hell in a handbasket. That's the bottom line. Civilization, civil civilization, comes from Europe, whether you like it or not, whether you envy it or not. All right, God bless you all. I love you all. Keep on keeping on. Remember, blessed are those who endure to the end. And I'm going to leave you. Actually, let's leave with this one.